Good evening and welcome to the Bulletin at 9 with the Sentinel. I'm Moinita. And straight to the top headlines at this hour. India's COVID vaccine likely by next year, says Health Minister Harsh Vardhan. Meghalaya Chief Minister Conrad Sangma revives Gorkhaland issue, writes a letter to Union Home Minister Amit Shah. Meghalaya lifts e-permit restrictions for entry into the state. And now let me run you through the top stories from throughout the day today. First, of course, is the news from the Parliament regarding the COVID vaccine that 7 Indian pharma companies are trying to come up with. Now, Union Health Minister Dr. Harsh Vardhan has said that there are expectations that a vaccine for coronavirus will be available in the country by the beginning of next year. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is personally monitoring the COVID-19 situation in the country. And here is what the minister said in Rajya Sabha today. India is making efforts just like other countries, and that Prime Minister Modi is handling the COVID-19 situation himself and very meticulously. And under Prime Minister Modi's guidance, and an expert group is looking at it, and we have advanced planning in place. We are hopeful that by the beginning of next year, a vaccine will be available in India. This is what the Union Health Minister said during his address in Rajya Sabha today. From January 8th, the Prime Minister, the ministers, and state health ministers have been addressing the situation. All chief ministers have fought this battle along with the Prime Minister, the minister said, adding that detailed advisories were circulated even before the first coronavirus case was detected in the country on January 30th. Extensive contact tracing was undertaken for that particular case. For the first case, 162 contacts were traced. That is how the union government started the history of contact tracing. Meanwhile, as far as the COVID vaccine is concerned, of course, like the minister mentioned in the floor of the House, the Prime Minister himself is looking into the matter, and an expert group has been set up to monitor the progress of the coronavirus vaccine that is being developed in India. Now, 7 companies, Bharat Biotech, Serum Institute, Zydus Cadila, Panacea Biotech, Indian Immunologicals, Minvax, and Biological E. 7 firms are working on the coronavirus vaccines in India. And now the health minister saying that India could actually look forward to having the vaccine by sometime next year. Now, moving on to news from the region, and this is the Meghalaya Chief Minister, Conrad Sangma, writing a letter to Union Home Minister Amit Shah. In fact, the letter was written earlier this month, but made public only on Tuesday and interestingly enough, it has been made public coinciding with the parliament in session. Now, in this particular letter, Conrad Sangma, who is also the National People's Party president, said that there should be a separate state for the Gorkha community, basically reviving the demand for a Gorkha land and reminding the center that the Gorkhas too are rightful Indian citizens who deserve to have their own identity and bas bhumi or homeland. Sangma also highlighted the contributions of Gorkha freedom fighter Durga Malla, members of Constituent Assembly Dambar Singh and Ari Bahadur Gurung, and Captain Ram Singh Thakuria. Sangma has requested the center to offer an honorable and lasting political solution to the Gorkhas. Like I mentioned, this letter was written earlier this month, but made public only on Tuesday. Now, in fact, this coincides with the growing demands by NDA allies in Darjeeling for finding a permanent political solution to the Gorkha issue. In fact, Sangma is the second chief minister to lend support to the Gorkhaland demand. Pawan Chamling, beg your pardon, Pawan Chamling was the then Sikkim chief minister. He also had got a resolution adopted in the assembly on March 29, 2011, where he had raised the same issue. Now, Conrad Sangma becoming the second chief minister to raise the issue of Gorkhaland. Staying on with news from the state of Meghalaya, the state government has withdrawn the system of online permit for outsiders. However, outsiders will have to undergo some formalities before they are allowed to enter the state. The government has now introduced a simplified system for online submission of essential data for the auto-generation of entry passes. As per the revised rules, no documents will need to be submitted at the time of furnishing online applications, and all valid online applications will auto-generate a pass. Earlier, the entry of persons from other states had to have the approval of the district administrations, and the deputy commissioner's office would approve or reject the applications for entry. The human intervention aspect of the procedure has now been done away with. According to an official notification, the documents required to be produced at the entry point are proof of residence, papers showing that they are engaged in government or essential services, referral papers in case of medical treatment, and proof of engagement for migrant skilled or unskilled labor. The online pass and prescribed documents would be required to be presented at the chosen entry point, where after due verification and mandatory COVID-19 testing would be done before letting people enter the state. Now, all these details, viewers, are available on our website, sentinelsm.com. You can log into our website and find all the details regarding the entry into the state of Meghalaya. There has been a few changes, like I just mentioned, and you can check all the details, the required documents that would now be necessary to enter Meghalaya. The entire story is there on our website, sentinelsm.com. Moving on to news from Aizawl, a big boost as far as sports infrastructure in the state is concerned. Aizawl's Rajiv Gandhi Stadium will now be upgraded under the Khelo India scheme of the Government of India as one of the first 8 Khelo India state centers of excellence under the Khelo India scheme of the Government of India. That's the Sports Minister of Mizoram, Robert Romavia Royte, tweeting about the good news as far as sports infrastructure in the state of Mizoram is concerned. Remember, Aizawl, in fact, Mizoram is fast becoming one of the football hotspots. The Aizawl club is there, in fact, and Robert Romavia Royte is one of the leading sports personalities of the state as well. He's one of the leading sports entrepreneurs now. In fact, the sports minister of the state. Now, the stadium will be upgraded with a total budget of 11.52 crore rupees, and this would be done over the next 4 years. The support will be in the form of infrastructure upgrades, setting up of a sports science center, and also soft components in the form of quality coaches and sports science human resources like physiotherapists, strength and conditioning experts. High quality equipment will also be provided to the players. The academy will also have high performance manager to ensure quality sports science input and performance management. It may be mentioned here that the Union Sports Ministry is upgrading existing sporting infrastructure in every state and union territory. It is creating the Center of Excellence for Sports with the aim of promoting a robust sporting ecosystem in the country. Now, moving on to news from Arunachal Pradesh, the state's chief minister, Pema Khandu, has tested negative for COVID. His reports came in today. He had tested positive for the virus on Tuesday, and he, in fact, wished his well-wishers for their prayers and support and best wishes. He says that because of wishes and prayers of each one of you, I'm glad to inform that I have tested negative. Thank you all. That's the tweet from Arunachal Pradesh Chief Minister Pema Khandu. In fact, Khandu on September 15th had taken to Twitter to announce that he was asymptomatic and healthy, but had self-isolated himself after he tested positive. 41-year-old Khandu is the third chief minister to have tested positive for COVID. Earlier, Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan and Haryana Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar had tested positive. Of course, now all the three chief ministers have recovered from COVID. In fact, it is the Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, Manish Sisodia, who is now undergoing treatment for COVID after he had tested positive yesterday. And meanwhile, reports coming in that Union Home Minister Amit Shah is now out of All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi. He was admitted one more time to AIIMS after he had complained of some body aches and fatigue. In fact, the Union Home Minister was at AIIMS for medical checkup one more time. He was admitted on September 13th, but prior to that, on August 18th, too, he was admitted to AIIMS for post-COVID care. He had tested positive for COVID earlier in August, and he was admitted to a private hospital in Gurgaon for COVID treatment. But finally now, after being in AIIMS for the second time, he has been discharged this evening. Now, this is about a sporting family from Manipur. It absolutely looks like it runs in this family to be football players. First, her cousins, and now it is Tonaujam Kritina Devi. She is in fact the third from this particular family who is all set. Those are the three cousins they are all from the same family, and the gentlemen, the footballers who you see on the picture, they have already been part of the FIFA Under-17 World Cup, and now Katrina is all set to be selected as part of the women's team for FIFA Under-17 World Cup. The World Cup is scheduled to be held sometime in February, March next year. Now, her cousin Kiam Amarjit Singh was the India captain in the men's FIFA Under-17 World Cup. The country had hosted in 2017, while Jackson Singh, Thonaujam Jackson Singh, was the lone scorer in that particular tournament and hence the only Indian to have scored a goal in a World Cup. The trio belongs to the remote village of Haukha Mamang in Manipur's Thobal district. Now, Kritina is all set to be part of the women's team of FIFA Under-17 World Cup. In fact, of course, Kritina had her share of challenges and obstacles. In fact, her own father, who is a farmer, was not very comfortable with the idea of Kritina taking up the football. But when she kind of started performing really well and gaining international recognition, that is when her father came around and started supporting her and appreciating her efforts. And now the girl is all set to be part of the FIFA Under-17 World Cup. Today is Prime Minister Narendra Modi's birthday. Of course, today is Vishwakarma Puja, and we had shown you the live telecast from the banks of Brahmaputra early in the morning, as today is Mahalaya as well. Now, here is a very sweet video. In fact, Prime Minister Narendra Modi received wishes, messages across social media platforms. There were a lot of videos which were done, everyone wishing Prime Minister Modi a very happy birthday. In fact, Bharatiya Janata Party had arranged, in fact, they have been celebrating PM Modi's birthday as the Seva Saptah, or the Week of Services. It started on September 14th and will go on till September 20th. And they are carrying out a lot of activities helping people in various ways. But here is this very sweet video. 3 little Nagaland girls wishing Prime Minister Modi a very happy birthday. I leave you with this lovely video that they had shot and shared through the social media. And viewers, thank you so much for joining me this evening for this news update. But news and updates continue on sentinelassam.com. Log on and stay updated with all the latest happenings from the state, the region, the nation, and the world. And also find us across the social media platforms of YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Till we meet again, take care, stay safe, good night, and goodbye. Enjoy this sweet video.